guys, it's Gwen. What's up? Today's a little bit of a serious video. It's about opioids, and there will be some mentioning of celebrities, some mentioning of my personal experience with opioids, and some facts. So let's get into it. First thing, opioids are naturally found in the opium poppy plant. 2. Opioids are a class of drugs that include the illegal drug heroin. Synthetic opioids, such as fentanyl and pain relievers, are available legally through prescription, such as oxyhydrocodone, morphine, Dilaudid, and so many more. Prescription opioids are used to treat moderate to severe pain. Opioids can make the body relax and relieve pain. Opioids can also make you feel very, very relaxed and high. So the difference in those two sentences is the first one is about your body relaxing and relieving pain. The second one is about your mind relaxing and feeling really high. That's where the addiction comes in. Last fact on what opioids are, stuff like that. Opioids can be very highly addictive, and overdoses and death are actually common. This fact is from cdc.gov. I'll link down below both sources that I got the information from. More than 67,000 people have died from drug overdoses, and 70% of the overdoses were from prescription and illicit opioids. Now I'm going to talk about a couple of celebrities who died from drug overdoses. It's, people who were very, very loved and, famous, and regular people die from it all the time. Kurt Cobain, Corey Monteith, he was in Glee. Like, if any of my girls have seen Glee, he was Finn in Glee. He died from a drug overdose. Marilyn Monroe, she's incredibly famous. She was an amazing person, and she died from a drug overdose. Elvis Presley died from a drug overdose. And then Whitney Houston is an amazing singer. She's an amazing person, and she died from a drug overdose. So, with that being said, it is really, really sad to see the numbers skyrocket. And in the medical field right now, it is a huge topic about the amount of people who get addicted to opioids. And half the time, it's not their fault. A lot of the time, people have an injury or an illness, or something happens and they have to get pain relief. And so a doctor prescribes it, and it's either used correctly and they get withdrawals, so they want it again, or it's misused in the first place and they continue to try and find it or get more prescriptions. My personal experience with opioids is that, if y'all didn't know, I have a condition called MSK, medullary sponge kidney. You can look it up if you want to. I pass kidney stones and have chronic pain every single day. So I have been through some of the worst pain you can imagine. And I have used opioids. I've used a large amount, and then I've used a small amount. I started using them when I was 16. I got my first kidney stone at 15 years old, and I was given Oxy. I've never ever misused my prescription in my life. Never. And I will never do that, because my biggest fear is becoming addicted. When people become addicted, you don't think straight. All you think about is wanting that drug. All you're focused on is wanting that drug. And it is the saddest thing. I've watched people be addicted to a drug. I've watched people do crazy things to get the drug. So I started using the drug when I was 15. I was put on Oxy. When I was 16, I had a major kidney surgery on both of my kidneys. It is still to this day one of the worst pains and one of the worst memories of my life. It was one of the worst times of my life. I could not get out of bed. I couldn't do things by myself. Showering was incredibly painful. And at that point, I was on a lot of Oxy, and I believe I was on morphine for a couple of days in the hospital. I had an IV hooked up to my arm, and I just had to press a button and it would release more. And when I was 18 and a half, I had another surgery and it did not go well. And so I was put on Dilaudid, and Dilaudid is stronger than morphine. It's one of the strongest opioids, and I was put on so much of it I could barely stay awake at all. But I've never misused it. I've never felt physical withdrawal. I have experienced mood swings where sometimes when I was on it I would feel angry for no reason, or when I was coming off of it I would feel angry for no reason. So I have experienced that, but I've never felt physical withdrawal. I do know people that have, where they get sick or they get dizzy or they get itchy. It's very scary. It's very, very scary. And I guess last thing I want to say is that for me, I do not recommend using them. I went off of opioids for a couple of years. I decided to go a different route. I started using marijuana. It's not a secret. My family knows that. My friends know that. I use it for pain only. I do not show it off. I don't share it. It's used for pain, and I had been doing that for a while, up until the last week or so. I've been passing a kidney stone for a couple of weeks, and that's normal for me because I have a different body, a different condition. For me, it's very difficult to pass a stone, no matter how small it is. So currently, I am back to taking opioids, but the difference for me and the difference for other people is I have a plan in place. I have rules for myself. I check in with myself. If I feel like I'm starting to need it just to need it and not need it for pain relief, I stop. And I'm constantly checking in with my doctor, making sure I'm not just building a tolerance and needing more. I'm making sure that I don't feel symptoms when it wears off. I'm making sure that, everything is okay, because I never want to go through addiction where I feel like I need a drug more than anything else. And that's what I recommend to people, is that you don't take it unless you are in such severe pain that you can't move, or that you're throwing up constantly. I really do not recommend starting any opioid unless you seriously need it for pain. And even when you do, I recommend having a plan in place, a support person to watch out for you to make sure that you're not getting addicted, because even when you watch yourself, you need a support system like your doctor and like a family or a friend watching over you. So that's this video for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope this information helps those of you that are curious or thinking about using opioids. I love you all. Give this video a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys next week.